This is the Basketweave Stitch. To get started, it's best if you already know front post and back post double crochets. I'll link those tutorials in case you need a refresher. In this video tutorial, I'll be going through rows 1 through 9, and rows 1 through 9 are the pattern repeat for this stitch. It is a very repetitive stitch, so I will keep some of the rows abbreviated as we continue on so you don't get bored, and I'll write down all of the rows and the pattern for this stitch in the description below. If you enjoy this tutorial, please like it and subscribe for more stitch tutorials every week. To get started, chain a chain of multiples of 8 plus 6. So for example, here I'm chaining 22. For row 1, you're going to double crochet into the third chain from hook. So 1, 2, 3, that's our third chain from hook. We're going to work a double crochet into that stitch. And then you're going to double crochet into each chain, and that is row 1. So we're just working that last double crochet into the final chain here. And then you're going to chain 2 and turn. For row 2, we're going to be working our front post and back post double crochets. So for the first double crochet, you're going to work a front post double crochet around that stitch. If you aren't familiar with front post and back post double crochets, I'll link that video here. It's really important that you're comfortable with that stitch before you move on to the basket weave stitch. We're going to work front post double crochets around the next 3 stitches in the row below. Just a little refresher for the front post double crochet. You're just wrapping that hook behind the double crochet in the row below so that you create a front post with that stitch. So your hook should run horizontally behind that stitch. And then you're just working a double crochet like normal. So that now that we have 4 front post double crochets, now we're going to work 4 back post double crochets into the next 4 stitches. So again, we're just wrapping that hook in front of the double crochet in the row below now, so that we create a post in the back. And by doing that, you form a horizontal ridge in the front of your work, and that's going to help create the basket weave effect. So 2 more back post double crochets. So that is 4 back post double crochets. Now we're going to do 4 front post double crochets into the next 4 stitches. You might be noticing a pattern now. All we're doing is alternating back post double crochets and front post double crochets, 4 each time. So there's 4 front post double crochets. Now we're going to do 4 more back post double crochets. Now we have 4 stitches remaining, and they're going to be front post double crochets. So we're going to end this row with 4 front post double crochets. So that is the end of row 2. It should be looking something like this. And now we're going to chain 2 and turn. So you can see now how we flipped our work that this looks like back post double crochets. On the front we have front post double crochets. That's just the way that these stitches work. They're opposites on either side of your work. So since we have back post double crochets over here, we're going to continue that and work 4 back post double crochets. So row 3 is a lot like row 2. You're still alternating back post double crochets and front post double crochets 4 at a time. You're just starting with 4 back post double crochets instead of 4 front post double crochets. So we're going to work 4 back post double crochets here. And then we're going to work 4 front post double crochets. We're going to alternate those front post double crochets with back post double crochets 4 at a time. So now we're moving on to a segment of 4 back post double crochets. Now 4 front post double crochets. And our last 4 stitches are going to be back post double crochets. So at the end of that last stitch, you're going to chain 2 and turn your work. And that's what rows 1 through 3 should be looking like. You can start to see the basket weave pattern starting to develop. For row 4, we are repeating row 2. We're starting with 4 front post double crochets, and then we're going to alternate back post double crochets and front post double crochets until you end the row with 4 front post double crochets. So I'm going to keep this row brief. If you need to reference it again, you can go back to row 2 and see how this row will be worked. For row 5, we are repeating row 3, so we're going to start with 4 back post double crochets. And then after your 4 back post double crochets, you will alternate 4 front post double crochets with 4 back post double crochets until you end your row with 4 back post double crochets. Again, I'm going to keep this row brief, and if you need to reference it again, you can go back to row 3, and that will show you how to work this row because it's just a repeat of row 3. Moving on to row 6, here we are going to be switching over our basket weave pattern. So where we have front post double crochets, now we want to create back post double crochets. So these first 4 stitches are going to be back post double crochets. And what that's going to do is start to create the horizontal ridges over these vertical ridges. So our basket weave pattern is really going to start to take shape. So that's 4 back post double crochets. So in these next 4 stitches, we're going to work 4 front post double crochets. You can see that it's back post double crochets down below, so we're working front post double crochets on top of them and creating vertical ridges on top of the horizontal ridges down below. So in this row, you are just alternating those 4 back post double crochets with 4 front post double crochets until you reach the end of the row, and you will be ending with 4 back post double crochets. So now you can see how the basket weave pattern is taking shape. You're getting these horizontal lines and these vertical lines here, and so it's switching over from what they were doing in the last 5 rows. So I skipped forward to the end of this row where we are ending with 4 back post double crochets. So you can see what it looks like. This is what it's looking like. And now we're going to chain 2 and turn. Now for row 7, you can see that we're working with the front post double crochets here on this side, so we're just going to continue that by working 4 front post double crochets to start with. And then in the next 4 stitches, you are working your back post double crochets, and you'll be alternating those front post double crochets with the back post double crochets 4 at a time until you end your row with 4 front post double crochets. This row is essentially a repeat of row 2. Moving on to row 8, we are going to start this row with 4 back post double crochets. And this row is essentially a repeat of row 3. You're starting with 4 back post double crochets, and then you'll be alternating 4 front post double crochets with 4 back post double crochets until you end the row with 4 back post double crochets. Now on to row 9. Row 9 is basically a repeat of row 2 again. So you're starting with 4 front post double crochets, and then you're going to move on to 4 back post double crochets and alternate those until you end the row with 4 front post double crochets. To keep going, just repeat rows 2 through 9 until your project reaches your desired length.